Live local now.
Now, this is 8 News Now, 5 at 6. Live local now.
Good evening. Governor Sisolak says the COVID-19 Delta variant is spreading like wildfire, and he's exploring measures to try and address it. Thanks for joining us here at 6. I'm Denise Valdez.
And I'm Christian Cáceres. He says a COVID-19 vaccine requirement is being examined and considered for public colleges and universities in Nevada and for healthcare workers and others working with vulnerable populations like the homeless community. He says he's asking his medical advisors how to make large gatherings safer. He's also pleading with Nevadans to get vaccinated.
Unlike previous waves of this virus, we have a real solution this time. The COVID-19 vaccines. That's our solution.
The governor pointing out that nearly all hospitalizations from COVID-19 are from patients who are not vaccinated. Well, taking a look now at the latest numbers in the pandemic. Right now, over 1,200 people are hospitalized across the state. Nevada Health Response also reporting 26 deaths and 1,135 new cases. 936 of today's cases and 24 of the deaths came from right here in Clark County.
Now, while there are many vaccinations, or I should say locations to get a vaccine, demand is also really growing right now for testing. In fact, many of you reached out to us on where to go to get tested because a lot of appointments are already booked. Joe Moeller joining us now live from UNLV, where drive-through testing and vaccines are available. And this one's interesting because it goes into the evening. And Joe, people that you spoke with want more locations that are similar to this one.
Yeah, people who are feeling sick or who are possibly exposed to someone who has the virus say they want to get their test done, but it's not exactly the easiest thing to do to make that appointment. We are at the UNLV location this evening. Take a live look. This just started here at 5:30, about 30 minutes ago. This is a testing and a vaccination location that just started last night. And last night there were about 3/4 of the visitors here that were trying to get tested. This clinic started last night and it will be closed tomorrow and Saturday, but then we'll start again on Sunday through next Thursday. It will happen in the evenings like it is this evening. As the pandemic slowed, the need for testing did, but now people are wanting to get tested as the Delta variant becomes a reality. Some people are waiting hours for rapid tests at certain locations, while others wait days for their appointments and results. I caught up with some folks earlier today at CSN campus today where they where testing was happening, and they say they want more locations to get it done.
It takes a while to really search and find it and find a place that has appointments available.
They're advertising so much about getting vaccinated, where you need to be tested as well, even though you may be vaccinated.
Now, this site here is first come, first serve. Again, testing and vaccines. The hope here is that if you are getting tested and not vaccinated, you will roll up your sleeve as well. Now, back out here live, I want to give you an idea just how many people are out here. You can see this line happening here, but then I'm going to have our photojournalist Tim span to the left here, and you can see this actually wraps around the entire parking lot, and this is another line of people waiting to get their shot or their vaccine. This ends tonight at 10:30 and will again open up on Sunday and go through next Thursday. We do have a list of more information on this side and a list of other locations up on our website. That is 8newsnow.com. Reporting live at UNLV this evening, Joe Moeller, 8 News Now.
Very busy site there. Thank you, Joe. Well, you might recently have heard of the term Delta Plus. It's the new variant that health officials say it just popped up on the radar. Today we spoke to UNLV's epidemiologist Brian Labus, who tells us viruses mutate all the time, which is the case of this new COVID substrate. This spreads more easily and causes the same effects once it enters your body. In other words, he says you produce more of the virus, which allows you to spread it faster. According to the Washington Post, few cases have been reported in the United Kingdom, India, and here in the U.S. Labus says a big concern for doctors will happen this winter.
As different respiratory diseases start to circulate, as we get back together and start to do things that we didn't do last year, we have the potential for multiple viruses circulating at the same time, including all the common cold viruses we deal with and influenza. So in addition to just dealing with one enemy, we have multiple to deal with at the same time. And it can also be challenging for clinicians who now have to differentiate between COVID, flu, and the other things that could be circulating in our community.
Labus says a booster of the COVID-19 vaccine could help immunity, but the bigger problem, he says, is logistics. Right now, health officials are still focusing on getting people their first shot. A booster would mean getting those millions of people already vaccinated to return for another. He says we are not at a critical point to be rolling this out yet.
And taking a live look right now at the Vax Nevada Days drawing. Tonight, one lucky winner. The big cash prize tonight will be $50,000. 4 other people will win $25,000, and 10 people will win $1,000 each. Plus, there are also a number of tuition prizes and fishing licenses as well, so we'll be keeping an eye on that for you throughout the evening.
Well, Denise, the Silverton Casino and Hotel will be offering vaccine appointments tomorrow. They will also be offering appointments on the 12th and the 27th from 8 to 11 a.m. Both the Pfizer and the Johnson & Johnson shots will be available. Of course, we have a link to schedule an appointment on our website, 8newsnow.com.
In less than 3 weeks, Tokyo will host the Paralympics, another big event that will welcome more than 4,000 athletes from 98 different countries. This coming, though, as the positive COVID case numbers grow in that city, along with frustration from its citizens. Matt Barnes reports from Tokyo.
Just 3 days left in the Olympics, but then the page will turn to the Paralympics as the International Olympic Committee and the city of Tokyo try to balance once again competition and coronavirus.
I have been a very late convert to being convinced that this was all going to take place. But hey, it looks like we're going to do it, and I'm glad I was training like it was going to go on the whole time.
Blake Haxton is set to leave for Tokyo in 2 weeks as he prepares for his second Paralympics. Like many, he's closely watching the Olympics.
You know, as the guy watching on TV, I think it's been great. I mean, I've gotten to see the competitions, and it seems like everything's going off fairly smooth. Following along with some of my friends on the Olympic team, things are definitely weird.
And that has Blake also watching the COVID case numbers, which hit record highs both inside and outside of the Olympic Village this week.
It is the most tested community anywhere in the world, and I think that the Japanese people can take a great deal of confidence in that.
The IOC maintains the positivity rate is low among games-related personnel. Meanwhile, the numbers in Tokyo are surging, and the number of hospital beds are dwindling.
We have a great deal of sympathy. We understand that. We all come from similar situations, a lot of us in our own countries, so of course we have a great deal of empathy, and that is why we are carrying on to give the Japanese people such confidence in what we're doing.
For Blake, he is just controlling what he can control. He is fully vaccinated and spending these final days in the U.S. training and isolating.
Yeah, to be honest with you, just trying to stay away from people as much as I can, and then you just kind of hope for the best. I mean, you know, it's kind of the story of 2020, right? Like, you take the precautions you can, and then, you know, whatever happens, happens.
In Tokyo, I'm Matt Barnes.
Happening tomorrow, NHP trooper Micah May will be laid to rest. He died last week after he was hit by a carjacking suspect during a chase on the I-15. May was 46 years old and is survived by his wife and 2 children. Now, the procession will begin at 9:30 a.m. at Palm Mortuary in downtown, and it will end at Central Christian Church in Henderson, where the funeral service will be held. That starts at 11 o'clock. Now, there will also be a second procession after the funeral to Palm Eastern Mortuary and Cemetery.
Well, this week, McCarran Airport, as well as airports really across the country, were plagued with flight delays and cancellations. Spirit Airlines, one of the airlines hit the hardest. Yesterday, in a statement, they said, quote, "We've dealt with overlapping operational challenges, including weather, system outages, and staffing shortages, and that caused widespread irregularities in our operation and impacted crew scheduling." Then they went on to say they expected the cancellations to drop today, but there have still been a lot of delays. So if you're heading that way, make sure to check your flight status.
Well, if you're looking to do something pretty cool, the Mob Museum is hosting a new program on the 25th anniversary of the murder of Tupac. It will feature panelists and a discussion on the rapper. Co-founder of the rap group Public Enemy, Chuck D, will be speaking on Tupac's cultural legacy and the impact of his death. Now, this is happening on September 1st at 8:30 p.m., and tickets are on sale for $75. Well, next at 6 o'clock, a heartbreaking story of a grandmother searching for answers. The I-Team digs into the mysterious death of a child placed in foster care.
And wildfires are raging out of control on the west. New video from one California town that was just leveled by flames. Nate?
Denise, the excessive heat warning's about to go away. We'll talk about wind. We've also got slightly cooler temps in your most accurate Weather Now weekend forecast right around the corner. Live.
by Silver State Refrigeration and HVAC.
Questions surround the death of a newborn baby who died in foster care. Now, the I-Team has uncovered a document which reveals the foster parents were previously investigated for neglect in an unrelated case more than 2 years ago. Now, in this exclusive interview, the child's grandmother is looking for answers. As Vanessa Murphy reports, this isn't the first tragedy for the family this year.
This is Isai Joel.
The only thing that I want is justice.
This is Isai's grandmother. She's asked the I-Team to protect her identity. Last April, her daughter was stabbed to death in a parking lot right in front of her. Metro police say the killer is her ex-boyfriend. She was a new mom to baby Isai. The grandmother says Child Protective Services, or CPS, took custody of the infant the same day. She says she expected they would soon be reunited, and in the meantime, she prepared to permanently care for him.
I need my grandson back because I'm going to be ready, okay, to help him.
She says she repeatedly reached out to a CPS caseworker to ask to be reunited with her grandson.
I am ready to get him. I'm ready. And I was very happy, okay? He never returned my messages.
She tells the I-Team she finally received a call from the Clark County Coroner's Office.
He said, no, I have bad news for you. And he told me that he's dead. I screamed. I was very mad.
She says no details about the child's death were shared with her. The I-Team dug for answers and found that, according to the coroner's office, at 2 months and 14 days old, Isai died at University Medical Center after an incident in the master bedroom of a foster family assigned to care for him. That's 26 days after the grandmother says CPS took custody of him. Isai's cause of death is pending. We also obtained this child fatality disclosure, which states the Department of Family Services received a report that the child had been found unresponsive in his crib by his foster parent. It also states that the same foster parents were previously investigated. A report was received alleging neglect in 2018 for at least one other child in their care. The allegations in that case were found unsubstantiated.
Our clients need to know what happened.
Attorney Andre Lagomarsino is representing the family, although a lawsuit has not been filed.
They need to proceed with all the natural processes of grieving and getting answers.
The I-Team reached out to CPS for answers. In an email, a spokesman wrote that CPS is awaiting the coroner's report. The foster parents have not been charged. Their license is on hold and under investigation, and they currently do not have any foster children. When we asked why CPS isn't sharing information with the grandmother, we were told that confidentiality requirements preclude CPS from sharing information with her without parental consent. Again, the child's father is charged with murder. Records show he's currently going to be transferred to a mental health facility. And the child's mother was killed. As she grieves the loss of her daughter, the grandmother is in disbelief about the loss of her grandson.
In my heart, I think he's not dead. It's not easy. It's very hard. I love him.
Vanessa Murphy, 8 News Now.
You heard Vanessa talk there about, parental consent. Well, apparently she followed up with 3 additional emails asking CPS about the confidentiality regarding the child since the mother is dead, and according to records, the father has been declared not competent for trial. However, no additional response or explanation was given.